This is a love story. Not between two people, but between me and Korean food. You know those love stories where it's like a slow burn? Like two people meet, have a good time, they feel a vibe, but don't really fall in love. You know, they stay friends for some time until a certain event happens, and then they're just head over heels for each other. Well, that's how my love story goes too. In 2019, a friend wanted to meet with me to get some career advice. She suggested that we get lunch at Bibigo, which is a Korean restaurant chain. And well, at that time, I hadn't tried Korean food before, but if there's one area of life where I consider myself adventurous, it's trying new foods. So on a random Monday in May, I had my first kimchi fried rice. It was my introduction to Korean food and also the beginning of a love story. A love story between me and Korean food, and man, it was love at first taste. Something about Korean food was different, and yet it felt like home. Like, how can you be nostalgic about something you've never had before? I wouldn't say Korean food was an acquired taste for me, but it did take some time for me to get comfortable and to fall truly, madly, deeply in love. Because I think you can't say you love a certain cuisine until you've tried a variety of dishes and actually like most of them. And after that first taste in May 2019, for some reason, I would only eat Korean food once every couple months with a group of friends, but rarely by myself. Perhaps because it still felt a little foreign to me. It was not until March of 2020 that I really got to know Korean food. When the world was in lockdown and we were all experimenting in our kitchens, all I wanted to do was make Korean food. The fact that this was also the time I watched Crash Landing on You and got introduced to the world of K-dramas may have something to do with that desire. I still recall how I would binge watch K-dramas and all of a sudden at 3 a.m. have a craving for ramen because one of the characters was eating it. The only problem with my love for Korean food was that March of 2020 was also when I became vegan. Now, regular, authentic Korean food tends to be non-vegan. So the only option I had now was to follow recipes online and cook my own vegan version of Korean food. And since then, I've been making kimchi fried rice, kimchi jjigae, doenjang jjigae, sundubu jjigae, dubujorim, kimbap, and all that I could veganize. However, because I had very little time to get to know the authentic Korean food before I went vegan, I always wondered if what I was cooking was authentic enough. For some reason, I have just always really valued authentic and original experiences, and not knowing whether what I was cooking was authentic just really bothered me. What if I am not in love with Korean food? What if I'm just in love with my version of it? Now, that might be a stretch because I'm not that bad at following recipes, so I doubt my flavors are completely off. But even if they are, it doesn't matter to me anymore. Because I've started to realize that authentic experiences and authentic food, it's a little overrated. In Indian households like mine, dal and rice is a staple dish. Yet it's hard to find any two families that eat dal and rice with the exact same taste and consistency. So whose is more authentic? How do you determine authentic food in cultures where home-cooked food meant using what you have in your kitchen? every dish has a few non-negotiables, which become the essence of that dish. But other than that, every household uses ingredients based on their family recipes and personal tastes, and most importantly, what's available to them in their kitchen. So I had to remind myself that it's okay to be in love with my version of Korean food. It may or may not taste the same as an actual Korean homemade dish, but as long as it tastes good, that's all that matters, right? Speaking of adapting food to your needs, I know I should have used leftover rice here, but I didn't have any, so I had to make fresh rice, and I ended up using too much water, so the rice was a little extra soft, and the kimchi fried rice also turned out a little soggy, which is not ideal, but again, I thought it tasted good, so that's all that matters, right?